This is Sherlock Holmes.
Ah. Hey.
In many movies and television series, the moment arrives when the villain steps into view, reveals their name, and expects a single declaration to inspire fear or awe. Too often, these introductions feel hollow, like a performance without substance. The bar for what makes an antagonist truly memorable has been set remarkably high, and one reason is a character who has haunted detective fiction for more than a century: Professor Moriarty. There have been countless interpretations of Moriarty since Conan Doyle created him, but the version brought to life by Andrew Scott in the BBC Sherlock is something extraordinary. Watching him, it becomes clear that a great villain isn't just an obstacle or a foil. A great villain defines the hero and makes the entire story feel necessary. That's part of why the character has left such a lasting impression, and why this particular portrayal stands out as one of the reasons to love Sherlock itself. Moriarty, in this adaptation, is more than just a clever adversary. He is a presence that feels inescapable. From the very start, he doesn't simply announce his intentions. He constructs elaborate tests and mind games, almost as though he's searching for proof that Sherlock is worthy of being his rival. It feels personal because, for Moriarty, it is. He doesn't want just anyone standing opposite him. He wants someone whose brilliance mirrors his own. That dynamic instantly makes everything more fascinating. It shows that their conflict isn't about good versus evil in the simplest sense. It's about two minds that need each other to feel complete. One of the reasons this character has always fascinated me is how he reflects Sherlock's own nature. They share the same impatience with ordinary life, the same conviction that their gifts set them apart from everyone else. Their rivalry feels inevitable because, in some sense, they are two variations of the same idea. Both of them are driven by a relentless need to prove something, to themselves and to the world. The difference is what they believe that proof should look like. Sherlock believes in preserving life and uncovering truth, while Moriarty finds meaning in disruption and control. The more one looks at their dynamic, the more it becomes a philosophical question. If brilliance can be used to build or to destroy, what makes the difference? Is it morality, empathy, or simply the accident of circumstance? The story never fully answers these questions, which is part of what makes the character so lasting. That ambiguity is why Moriarty feels less like a stock villain and more like an idea that lingers. Sometimes the most fascinating villains are those whose logic almost makes sense, whose ideas are simply a few degrees off from something noble. And it would have been equally interesting to watch how the consequences of his schemes ripple beyond Sherlock himself, reshaping everyone caught in their orbit. But even without those details, Andrew Scott's performance ensures Moriarty never feels incomplete. He radiates intelligence and menace. But there is also a kind of pleasure behind his cruelty, a sense that this rivalry is the only thing that makes life meaningful. That mixture of cold logic and exhilaration is what makes him so distinctive. And Andrew Scott is unforgettable in the role. There is a quality in his performance that feels electric. He can shift from charm to menace in a single breath, and there are moments when he becomes genuinely terrifying. It isn't the theatrical villainy that relies on volume or rage. It's something colder and more unpredictable. That unpredictability is what creates real fear, the sense that no rule or convention can restrain him. Another reason Moriarty is so compelling is the way he takes Sherlock's greatest strengths and transforms them into vulnerabilities. He doesn't just attack from the outside. He understands that Sherlock's intelligence, his arrogance, and his need for everything to be clever are also weaknesses. The series makes this clear in every encounter. It becomes impossible to ignore the idea that brilliance, left unchecked, can become self-destructive. In that way, Moriarty becomes more than an antagonist. He's a reminder that what defines someone can also consume them. He also drives genuine character development. Many modern stories rely on spectacle, villains who threaten the world or entire civilizations. But these threats rarely force heroes to examine their own values. With Moriarty, the stakes feel personal and immediate. When he forces Sherlock into an impossible choice on the rooftop, it isn't simply about survival. It's about who Sherlock is and what he's willing to sacrifice. The uncertainty in that moment makes the tension real. And that tension is what transforms the story from a puzzle into something more human and resonant. Ultimately, Moriarty endures because he is built on three essential foundations. He is a rival who forces Sherlock to earn every insight. He imposes choices that have real, permanent consequences. And he is a distorted reflection, a reminder that the same qualities that can save lives can also be turned to darker purposes. To watch Andrew Scott in the role is to feel that tension fully realized. His Moriarty is not simply an adversary, but a question that can never be answered completely. What if the darkness the hero is trying to defeat looks almost exactly like the part of themselves they value most? That is why this character remains so compelling, and why, after so many other villains fade, Moriarty still feels impossible to forget.